Okay guys, well sorry that I'm a little bit late with this one. Yeah, I was wondering about what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to go back to basics about plotting what side of the ELR the lines meet, because that's important when we're going to talk about ledges. So we're going to try and condense it into a shorter podcast as I can, but still deliver some decent content. Okay, so we're going to start with an ultra stable skewt. We're just going to draw on it so we can see which side of the ELR, which is this one, that the dew point line and the DALR lines meet, so we can see whether or not we can expect clouds. Now, as these lines converge here, it's on the left hand side of the ELR. Okay, so now we're going to go to the opposite end of the spectrum. So I just want to show you what happens when the dew point line and the DALR line meet on the right hand side of the ELR. This is a much more unstable skewt. So let's just draw on it. I'm not going to waste any time here. And there you go, they meet at around 2,000 meters. So I'm going to draw a cloud-based line across there. Seems to me that it's going to follow this line here. Now we've already talked about this earlier on. It goes up to there, and inside here is the cape. Now, as the dew point and the dry adiabatic lapse rate from the thermal cooling meet on the right hand side, we get cloud. So that follows the SALR line up to the top there, which I'm going to put top. Okay guys, so basically that was just a quick recap on what side of the ELR those converging lines find themselves. Now what we're going to move on to is how air behaves when it meets different layers. Right, so what we're looking at here is pretty much, in my humble opinion, the perfect skewt for the area in question. This is Bassano del Grappa. So I'm just going to plot on this. So the reason why this is a big day is because it's the right sandwich of instability lower down and stability in the high level, which means I give a very low percentage chance of thunderstorms. There's nothing weird happening in the high level that will cause spread out. So if you go back to my book, I talk about dials. So this is pretty much perfect lapse rate. We've got the right amount of humidity. Pressure is good, means that the humidity is not too high. And we've got the right amount of sun. It's not the middle of winter. It seems to be middle of September. And we've got light winds. This is pretty much what I do every morning for our groups. And this is why I think that it's a good day. As I said, light winds and no chance of thunderstorms in the flats. Perhaps a 30% chance in the main Alps, as there may be a little bit more surface area, obviously. A few isolated storms might break through, but I think this is a pretty good day. So with that being said, I now am going to crudely Tipex out the main part of the ELR. Okay, so this is the first in our hypothetical skewt chart. Hopefully you'll see the point of this tutorial is that this ledge here is going to cause something that we don't particularly want. So hopefully it's obvious what I've done here. I've just added a section of stability in the high level, which will not allow clouds to grow. This will produce spread out. Okay, so that's what happens if we have a ledge above cloud base. And the culprit for that is this. Okay, and now we're going to see what happens if this ledge appears lower down. So now what we've done, hopefully you can see that we've altered the ELR lower down. And we've added a ledge here. So now I'm going to start to draw on what I feel that the thermal profile will feel like. and its operational height. So what I'll usually do is that I'll take a pencil, and where there's a good spread, which I would say goes up to about 1,000 meters, I will put red. As things start to squeeze, I will add some yellow. And I would say that in this area here, thermals are going to be pretty weak. Now when the thermal reaches this height here, the temperature of the rising air and the ambient temperature are going to be the same. So therefore, the rising air now has neutral buoyancy, but it still has speed and it still has mass. So it has inertia. And I honestly feel that the day will go up to around 2,000 meters, which is here, because it's not a big leap from 1,700 to the 2,000 operational height. Although after that, I don't think any clouds are going to form because of the stability in the high level. So let's mark on, as I normally do, the inertia level. Now what I normally expect in this altitude here is some pretty rough turbulence. Also, once the momentum of the climb is lost, the air is around 10.5 degrees, but the thermal is around 9 degrees, which is why on these kind of days where inertia climbs are prevalent, you would expect some pretty massive sink, as the air has no business being up there, unlike days where there's nice cumulus forming. So again, I would suggest that this day is blue and not a lot of chance of thunderstorms. When air is impeded, it behaves like a spoilt child. What I mean by that is that anything in its way, anything that slows it down or anything that changes its direction or its momentum will decrease our comfort. Now, whether that is air flowing over an object and creating rotor, or in the case that I'm talking about today, meeting layers in the atmosphere that slow it down, those I call ledges. And when air is slowed down due to those ledges, we will meet turbulence. People often think that it's something to do with lee or something to do with wind shear, but most of the time it's just that the air has met a layer of stability, slowed down and created a vibration in the thermal. The worst case scenario is what I described on that first picture, is when it meets an utterly stable layer. Now that's when the thermal is no longer acting on buoyancy, but acting on inertia. Now, not only are those days very harsh, very hard edged, there's a lot of sink in between, there's a lot of vertical shear, and there's a lot of horizontally moving air as a lot of air is deflected around. That's the best way I can describe it. The takeaway of today is that whenever you see ledges in the atmosphere, expect some turbulence. Yeah, that's it for today. I hope my rambling has made sense. We're still aiming to get one out a week. Let me know in the comments if you think that's a good idea or not. Yeah, until next Monday, bye for now.